What it is, what they do. This is Orion, aka Brass Balls Deep Dive Tape Stash, the segment that keeps on giving and giving to the hip hop lover in you. Please subscribe to the Orion Hip Hop channel, where you can peep previous episodes of Deep Dive Tape Stash, as well as music from yours truly. I recently did a remix of Eminem's Any Man, one of my favorite Eminem tracks. Go peep it, enjoy that, and check out all the obscure demos that I be dropping that you may or may not have ever feasted your ears on. Now, without further ado, grab your scuba gear, follow me to this pond that we about to dive into and really excavate the land underneath the waves of the waters. You feel me? This is a tape cassette single promo that was released in 1996 called Made From Scratch. Now, this may look familiar to you because in episode 115, I actually reviewed another Made From Scratch cassette from Geffen Records that was actually in 1997. This came out prior to that, and this was the 96 one. I actually like this tape better than the 97 tape, and I'm gonna explain why. But let's get into this tape, because it starts off with none other than DJ Doo-Wop of the Flip Squad. Doo-Wop is hosting this. I don't know how much of a hand he had in selecting the tracks that went on this promo compilation, but it is a dope compilation to have. I bought this at a thrift store, I want to say. I was already familiar with pretty much all the artists on this. The tape does have some tracks that go the full distance of the track, but for the majority of it, it's a lot of snippets because this was meant to be a promo, and the program repeats on both sides of the tape. So in other words, all the songs are on side A are the same songs on side B. No rewind necessary, you feel me? They just wanted you to let the whole thing ride, and then when it flips to the other side, you keep letting it ride and vibing, you feel me? So it opens up with The Roots, because Ijuswannachill Half-Life was an album that they were putting out around this time in 1996. The song that they chose was The Clones, featuring Dice Raw and Mars Co-op. Not much was ever heard from Mars Co-op other than him featured on this song, and unfortunately for this promo, they cut his verse because his verse was on the third one, and you don't hear Mars Co-op rap on this one. You gotta get the album for that, you feel me? The Ijuswannachill Half-Life is my favorite Roots album, and it's actually one of the darker Roots album production-wise. Very different than what the Roots brought you with their first album, Organics, and their second album, Do You Want More? If you take a listen to The Clones, you might notice a great sample from Quincy Jones, which is off Summer in the City. If you description box, so you can peep that right there and peep what they did with that sample. That's a sample that was most notably done by Farside for Passing Me By, but what the Roots did with it was completely different. They chopped up another section of that song that was still dope. Now, Concerto of Desperados had a video. This is the second track on this tape single, and it's produced by Killah, a member of the Roots. And I love Concerto of Desperados, the video, the way Black Thought is rhyming, it's so dope. You and I Verse at War featuring Common was produced by Chaos, another Roots member. You could check out Questlove on a podcast with Open Mike Eagle, where he really takes a deep dive with Open Mike Eagle on Ijuswannachill Half-Life and everything that he had to say, all the insight. If you're a Roots lover, you're gonna really want to peep that description box once again, so you get a link for that amazing episode with Open Mike Eagle. Large Professor then comes through with I Don't Wanna Ill, I Just Wanna Chill, and this had a video as well. It's a snippet of the song. It's not the whole song through, but it's still a really dope track. I love that sample. I love what Large Professor did with it, and everybody was waiting for Large Professor. If you was a Main Source fan, after he wasn't on the second Main Source album, you wanted to hear Large Professor, and you was really amped for this album. The next two tracks is Get Off the Bullshit and Mad Scientist. Get Off the Bullshit was an album cut. Mad Scientist had its own video. I remember seeing the video on Yo MTV Raps and being super amped for the Mad Scientist Large Professor album to drop. Unfortunately though, Geffen Records dropped the ball. They shelved the album, and we never got the album from Large Professor. until 2009, when I think the good brother got his rights and masters back for the album and was able to release it in 2009 under the LP album. So you can still peep this album even though it was shelved back in the days. The promo tape goes on to have tracks from GZA off of the Liquid Swords album. And out of all the artists on this promo, GZA was the most successful with his Liquid Swords album. And I think that's why Geffen elected to put these 3 tracks from the album on here, because I think Liquid Swords had already came out by the time this promo came out. I think this was their way of reminding people of how great that album was and trying to squeeze people's dollars a little bit more, because you don't get the whole shadow boxing song. You get somewhat of the instrumental and beat with doo-wop talking, then you get Duel of the Iron Mike, and then you get some of Fourth Chamber, but not all of it, just a snippet. It moves on to Killah Priest. Now, Killah Priest was signed to Geffen Records, and he did eventually drop his album. However, this is 1996 that this promo dropped, and Heavy Mental did not drop until 1998. So there was something funky going on in the Geffen Records offices, and I don't know what it is, because I wasn't in the know. But it is what it is. At least we got that Killah Priest album, and it didn't get indefinitely shelved. The tracks that they put on this was Bible, which you already heard that off Liquid Swords if you was following Wu-Tang, produced by Fourth Disciple. And another track off Heavy Mental produced by Fourth Disciple was Tai Chi, which is one of my favorite tracks from that album, and it features the Sons of Man on it, and it's so ill. And I know exactly where Fourth Disciple got those samples. I ain't gonna sample snitch on that one, but hats off to the legendary Fourth Disciple, because he did his thing on that. Shout out to Hellraiser, 60 Second Assassin, and Killah Priest, of course. Shout out to Killah Priest, bro, especially because he came down to Miami and did his thing at Unseen Creatures. La Plancha put that together with Knowledge Born Radio, Low Lifes. You know what we do. Now, the last MC that's featured on this promo cassette is a West Coast rapper by the name of Mad Head. It's a song called Tripp2nite. That too had a video. This album as well from him did not drop. I did research on it, could not find it. This is a track produced by a producer known as Robert Red. Pretty dope. That West Coast G-Funk era party vibes to it. Then the last song on this promo compilation is Representing, produced by Eric the Myth Murray. I don't know if this features a rapper by the name of Young Will. It was kind of confusing when I was researching this, but it does appear that there's 2 rappers on the song Representing, which made me look into Mad Head more. Like, was that just one person or was that 2 people in the group? Notably, Mad Head did release a song on the Beavis and Butthead soundtrack called Pimp'n Ain't Easy that is actually pretty dope and worth checking out. Description box so you can get a link for that, since I'm teasing you about that knowledge, you feel me? So that about wraps up this deep dive tape stash made from scratch Geffen Records promo thing here in front of you. Shout out to all my people keeping up with what I do, and big ups to the homie One Lex recovering in the hospital. If you peep previous episodes, I urge some of y'all to find it in your good hearts to donate to his GoFundMe, because a lot of hospital bills when you're dealing with the situation he was dealing with. But luckily the brother is doing a lot better, so shout out to my bro One Lex. With that said, let's go.